Good morning, good afternoon. I almost said good evening first. However, hello, whenever you're listening. Hello. My name is Form. This is episode 115 of Formcast. And still to this day, some people don't know that I have a podcast. So if you are listening to this, feel free to share the information that every Wednesday, 9 a.m. Eastern, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, a new episode is released, and on YouTube later that day it is released as well with the video, so you get to look at me, which kind of sometimes weird for a podcast, but it is what it is. And 115 episodes, all of them on YouTube, mind you, all of them, and kind of brings me to half the topic today. Today, the topic literally is streaming. Very simply put, but streaming as a job, streaming as your occupation, streaming as your title of what do you do when someone asks you, but also what it means to some people. Now, I received a message just a couple days ago from a fellow content creator who I met in the last couple months, I would say. Really good guy, really awesome personality, someone who has been, streaming for a while. Mentioned that they went through my YouTube channel, kind of down the rabbit hole, I guess, which I never thought I'd be part of a rabbit hole, but part of a rabbit hole for this individual, thankfully, and found themselves on a podcast episode of what I did before, what I used to do for work, how I came into streaming, and the journey, I guess you can say, and the fact that I've been doing it full time, which this year, this July, I believe it makes it 3 years that I've been full time with no other job, no other, occupation. This individual mentioned just how inspirational it was to see that even if it goes up and down and kind of all over the place in this industry, that we're still going, we're still pushing, we're still trying to be different, creative, and we're still trying to make things fun, make people laugh, make people smile, et cetera, et cetera. And just kind of didn't even say, can you help me? But more so, hey, you've inspired me to continue and push and realize that I might have the ability to do this as well. And I was humbled at the message, and all I said was, all I can do is say thank you and help you be seen by just talking about you, because if they're in the stream, I'm talking about everybody, and that, like, we've rated him twice, I think, but just really good personality. And sometimes as a streamer, which now my average is probably like, 50, just over 50 average viewers, maybe something like that in the last, like, I want to say couple weeks. Um, at this level, I still consider myself a very tiny and minute part of the platform on Twitch. However, it's very humbling and a grateful opportunity to be able to help people be seen, find the exposure, because that's what I think a lot of people are missing, is just that exposure piece, and just to be that inspiration. So that's pretty crazy. But also, I went to a friend's place this past weekend, for dinner, and there was someone there that I'd never met before. And the whole idea was we all got together for dinner because we all helped babysit his dog for a week and a half, 2 weeks while they were away on vacation. So it was kind of like a thank you thing. So, get there, hang out. But there was a guy there I've never met, an older guy. I want to say, I mean, I'm 35. I want to say maybe he was like mid 50s, late 50s. So not old, but older than me, anyways. Mentioned, work and all that kind of stuff. Eventually got to the conversation of, what do you do for work? So again, streaming and content creation for many people, especially the older generation, is something so different, so drastic, so unknowing, so very difficult to understand. So when I mentioned, I live stream content, so things such as everything I do is live on camera, microphone, it's hard for me to explain still. I don't really understand how to really explain this is what I do and all that. It's more so I have to explain it in small details. Like, everything I do is live. I'm at home in front of my computer. People can see what I'm doing, and I can chat versus, like, I speak, they type, So stuff like that, right? So it's a little bit awkward, but his first reaction, his first thing he said was, "Oh, one of those people. One of those people, his wife was there, or his girlfriend, and said, "Oh, we finally met someone who does that." I was like, "What?" I was kind of like thrown off. And they're like, "Yeah, we've heard a lot about it, and people who watch live streams, and all my two kids, his girlfriend, his partner said, my two kids are often watching people on YouTube and live streams, and he's like, I watch a lot of YouTube, but it's all videos that are recorded." And I was like, "Yeah, we do that kind of stuff too," but it was just so funny to explain. And again, it brings up the idea of what I do for work is so different still. And then he brought up a good question. He says, "Are you afraid of that changing? Is there a fear of where it's going?" And I'm not gonna lie, every not every day maybe, but every so often, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I'm 35. A lot of these content creators that are really big and growing and all that kind of stuff, aside from those that are already up in the top lists, are young individuals. I want to say 22 to 27 years old, I would say, maybe. The mid 20s are these folks that are doing all these different things and being seen and going viral. And so I'm 35. I don't know. I mean, I don't think I act my age, which is probably a bad thing sometimes, but I don't know where it's going. I don't know if when I'm 40, people will still want to hang around. I don't know if when I'm 45, people will still want to hang around. I don't know. Right now, I still am able to have an audience that is still younger, but also older. I'm in the middle of it all. I'm in the middle of the younger 20s, and also, have community members that are in their 50s, for example. So I'm not entirely sure where that line starts moving in terms of, am I still able to entertain a certain age group? Is it still possible to grow if certain age groups don't care about it? Or I mentioned, and I said, this is a fear of mine. You just never know what could happen on the internet and with streaming in general. 10 years ago, streaming was not really a thing that most people talked about. It was around. When you think of like Tim the Tatman, Nade Shot Star a long time ago, it was a lot of YouTube stuff back then. And then live streaming video games came a thing, and now it's obviously live stream whatever the heck you want. But with that being said, I don't know if things change that drastically in all of these years, in the last 5 years, even, especially with COVID. Where is it going to be in the next 5 years? Where's it going to be in the next 10 years? And I'm 35. So 10 years from now, I'm only 45. God forbid I can retire when I'm 45 years old. I mean, I don't even think that's a possibility. Yeah, you can invest. Yeah, you could do this and do that. But I don't think you can live from 45 to, who knows, 85, 40 years, 30 years maybe, whatever. I don't think you could live with retiring that young, especially on a income where it's solely based on people's generosities. At my level, we don't get these big contracts and these partnerships that are like, yeah, we'll pay you $2,000 for one stream. We don't get that stuff. So with that being said, very, very good questions, but also, again, the whole brand new person to my line of work, trying to explain it, and then facing all the questions, even the personal questions of like, how much money do you make? And I tried to answer that as broadly as I can because it's so all over the place, but also very personal to share financial situations like that. So, especially with someone you've never met, that was kind of awkward. But the barbecue was really good, so that's a plus. With that being said, if you are a streamer and if you are a full-time streamer, if anyone's asked you, what do you do for work? Let me know how you explain it, because it's been many years and I still don't know how to explain it, especially to the older crowd. You mentioned it to someone who's younger. Oh, yeah, all right, cool. You do that. Oh, Twitch. I know what Twitch is. TikTok, YouTube's. Yeah, yeah. You mentioned it to anybody who's older. What? What? Pardon? Anyways, food for thought, makes conversation. Definitely breaks the ice, that's for sure. Anyways, thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. Catch you next time. Cheers.